Hi everyone, I'm Dana Howell and welcome back to WeAre Leadership. This is episode 7 and today we are welcomed by the amazing co-heads of BLAIM, Rayan and Rafi, double R, and we're just gonna let them introduce themselves. One of you can start. Just like your name grade,
Name grade. My name is Ryan. Am I looking over there?
You're looking right in these ones.
Right here.
Yeah.
My name is Ryan. I'm a junior. I use he, him pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Rafi. I'm a junior. I also use he, him pronouns.
It took me a month to get them on my podcast, but I hold no grudges.
We're busy people.
You be at the fit very lunch. Anyway,
I'm a busy people.
Yeah, you're a busy people. Anyway, hey, it's okay.
Buffalo.
How are you all?
Good. End of mod. Beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm.
Locked in.
That's what I like to hear. So, one, what is BLAIM? Like, tell us a little bit about what BLAIM is and what you all do as AIA heads of BLAIM.
So, BLAIM is essentially the second iteration of the space for men of color. And basically, to find out a little more, that's kind of the name. So, BLAIM stands for Black, Latino, Asian, Indigenous Men.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're trying to introduce people of all different backgrounds and create a space to include everybody. And it's sort of a funny story about the name, actually, but it was when my parents were driving me and Ryan back from, I think, the Halloween dance.
Yeah.
And then, I think my mom was the one who came up with it. It was like, what if you just put all the different people you're trying to include in an acronym, and that's where BLAIM came from.
I don't think it was at the Halloween dance. I think it was at the, it was like when we did like those, we came over here in the summer, remember?
Oh, right.
Like after that,
Yeah, you're right.
I like the name. Wait, hold on.
I came up with it, so.
I think Rafi's parents came up with that swag.
No, I came up with it, and then we said it out loud, and your parents are cackling, laughing, and then you made fun of me for it. And then next thing you know, you could have come up with a better one.
Yeah, that might be it.
We used my one.
So,
Yeah, it's okay.
That's for the better, whatever.
Sorry.
Okay, so I remember, the whole, development of you all coming into this leadership position. I remember, at first, BLAIM had no co-heads. So, it was, BLAIM was just going to be, if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, we weren't going to have it this year. I remember having a conversation with you all at leadership training in August, and first, I want to ask, what made you all decide to take over BLAIM? Whether that be as individuals or together.
I mean, at least in my perspective, we kind of, I don't want to say the roles kind of thrown at us, but there was an opportunity that Jadira presented us with, basically saying that, we really want this space to still be active and still be alive, but we don't have the leader for that right now. And she came to me and Rafi knowing that, we're both men of color, we're both pretty close. I've known Rafi since, I always like to say yay high, but really since first grade and stuff. And I've always had a close connection with him. And I think, who better to kind of lead that important space that we need with Rafi. So we kind of opted in, and, just through that, I think we've built a really, really good space. Just even just looking back to, how the idea was presented to us all the way back in August to where we're at now in the community we've built. So
yeah.
I think for me at least, Men of Color was one of the spaces where I feel like I was able to find that sort of belonging at CSW, and so I think it was very helpful for me to have that opportunity to be able to continue that, because part of what I was thinking about coming into junior year is how am I going to leave my mark on CSW, how am I going to fulfill a leadership position, and I think that really helped with that, in terms of leading with Ryan, I think that both of us, at least in terms of this leadership position, are very important just because of the influence especially Ryan's had on the community, in terms of being a pretty well-known figure at the school. So I think it's certainly helpful to have someone like that, just to bring people in, somebody who's very social and everyone knows. And I think we very well complement each other in terms of how BLAIM leadership is done, in terms of it's not, I think, a more traditional sort of 50-50 split in the conventional sense. It's more that we fill the different roles that are necessary, the social aspects and the planning and development of the space and the actual work that has to be put in. And I think it's a nice balance.
What?
I don't know,
I think that I totally agree with the idea of you all taking this space and making it so much larger than it is. I remember freshman year when Men of Color like was getting off its feet, and I want to say they had 4 members, and it was all of the 4 black guys that identified as black men on campus, and it was basically like, I definitely take you all and like look at things like BSU and Circle of Sisters and think like those 3 spaces have come so far. Like I remember a couple weeks ago when we had the unexpected fire drill during Circle of Sisters and Men of Color. And you all like came out, and I was like, I never realized how many people are in that space, and you all need a bigger room. Like, how do you all fit in that room?
Bro, it's like, there's, you know, like the IB conference room is like that one central table. That's where me and Rafi are at. You got like snacks there, and then it's like everybody's like up against back of the wall, and, like sitting on the floor and stuff like that. And half the time the TV don't even work.
Yeah.
So.
No, we gotta get y'all a better space. Anyway, I think for the both of you, you both have different experiences in leadership. You've been a peer mentor. You were a peer mentor. But I think that you all definitely, this took you all out of your comfort zone a little bit, because peer mentor, you work with a small group. And I think going into this, you've both attended what once was Men of Color when there was only 8 or 5 of you all going to a meeting a week. How do you think you've pushed yourself to really be out there in this position? Because I feel like there's like at least 30 of you all in there every other Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I would say at least in my like, as Rafi kind of pointed out, like I'm a very social person. I know a lot of people, and I think just kind of how my mindset is, like I just really go with the flow in a lot of things, and I think that's what's kind of helped me, at least in like a peer mentor role, where, you know, I'm just kind of like going with the flow, like seeing what these kids need and kind of giving my own personal advice and stuff. But kind of in a more like rigorous sense, when you're really like leading an AAA space that's like so demanded by the community, just because there's so many people who identify with it, it was definitely a challenge, and it was definitely something that I had to kind of, you know, like adjust myself with. And especially like, obviously I'm very social, I like to crack jokes and everything, but like when things need to be serious and we also want to talk about serious things that are going on, like we just had like multiple meetings that we kind of based around the election and stuff. That was something that I had to get, you know, more well versed on, just so, you know, if people have questions, I can hopefully answer them and hopefully give a more, you know, like, I guess, intellectual answer and stuff for that sake. So definitely, you know, I guess being more in tune with my surroundings, and also, you know, answering those questions that, you know, someone like a freshman or a sophomore might not really know, just from lack of experience.
I think for me, BLAIM was like almost the opposite, in the sense that leadership in the past for me, I had a summer program that I did with the city of Cambridge, and it was working with a program called Access, which was meant to spread awareness around mental health. And for that one, I actually got an award from the city for like excellent performance, because of the fact that I was always on top of
Rafi.
everything that needs to happen. But part of that came from the fact that like people there, even though it was something that was paid, people there just did not want to engage. So it felt like I had to take a very much like a leader-like position in terms of sort of motivating people to get things done and getting people on the right track. And that was a very like, now I'm realizing, it was a very strict, sort of harsh way of leadership. And I think it was certainly helpful, because that's part of what allowed me to be excellent in that space. But in BLAIM, when you have this, what we're trying to do more is create a hospitable and comfortable environment, and we're not really trying to motivate people to do things, so to speak, as much as get people to find that motivation within themselves and be able to say, here's how I want to learn, here's how I want to grow as a person. And I think some aspects like Ryan is speaking to is, right, like we want to be able to be those more intellectual supports that people can lean on, in the sense that we are upperclassmen, and most of the people attending BLAIM are underclassmen. So I think, to me at least, this freshman class is very mature.
Yeah.
Very well spoken, at least sometimes. And I think with that comes this ability for BLAIM, at least in my opinion, what I've seen, to be so much more in terms of having these intellectual discussions. But I think part of that, at least a challenge for me, and sort of where I have to step out of my comfort zone, is being able to accommodate people, in the sense that we have to balance these discussions while also keeping them a little lighthearted at the same time. Yeah.
Wow, such full answers. You all talk a lot about like making like the younger community, and like how you want to impact them and support them, and I think that coming in, I don't think your freshman, I think you all have grown a lot since your freshman year. And I think that you all are definitely different people than you were when you came in. I'm saying that like we're like years apart. Like you're only like a year and some change younger than me. But like when you look back at freshman you and you look at the freshmen today, what do you think as a leader, when you were a freshman, what would you have wanted a leader to do for you that you're not doing for the freshmen?
Yeah, I think at least my freshman year, like, keep it a buck, like I did not even know anything about no AIA space, no nothing. I didn't show up to BSU until month 3. I didn't even know anything about medical color, no nothing. I had you yelling at me in the hallways to come and
it worked.
It worked. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean.
And I wouldn't say I yelled. It was more.
No, yeah,
it was a slightly aggressive push into a lovely space.
That's definitely a way to phrase it. Just kidding. But I think, at least for that, like, at least from what I'm doing now, is I'm kind of, it's less about, like, especially, like, at, like, that activities fair when, you have your table and you kind of want people to be attracted to it. It's, like, kind of calling people in and, giving them the information that they need about, like, meetings times and, like, what we do and stuff like that to kind of already get them that, like, I don't know, like, that thought, those thoughts going in their head and those gears so, like, when they're actually in the space, like, they kind of know what to expect in a sense. And I think, for me, it was kind of, I was kind of unsure because, like, coming in freshman year and, like, walking to see all these tables and walking to see, like, BSU or see, like, men of color, like, I was just like, oh, like, these are, cool spaces that I can 100% identify with, but, like, what are we talking about? And, like what kind of, like, activities? Is this, like, something that I have to, like, to fully go to and fully commit myself to 100%? Like, there's a lot of, like, insurance, like, I don't know, is that a word? Uncertainty? Uncertainty, bro, that's the word. Or there's a lot of, like, uncertainty that comes, you know what I mean? Because, like, it seems super official, like, you write your name down on the thing, and then it's like, you gotta go to this meeting, you get emails, you get texts, group chat, all that. It's like, it just seems like super.
Don't play, the BSU group chat is fire.
BSU group chat's fire.
So, I guess this is more so a question for Ryan, in a sense. I'm sorry. You talked a little bit about committing to an AIA space and, like, the pressure of feeling like you have to. And do you think that the idea of commitment to an AIA space is something that pushes people away from going to AIA spaces?
I think for sure. I think at least how they kind of, like, advertise this whole, like, like, club and affinity fair, at least coming in as a freshman, is like, please sign up for something, like, please do something, you know what I mean? And, like, with all the uncertainty, that's the word, all the uncertainty of, like, being, like, a freshman, like, at least in my perspective, like, I didn't really know what to do, you know what I mean? Like, I was looking over, I was like, there's a film club, psych club, like, what am I doing here? And then it's like, I feel like those affinity spaces are something that, like, I can personally relate to and personally connect with, but at the same time too, it's like I had a bunch of adults, like, advisors and, like, Aaron or something like that, basically saying, like do it, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do it, and this and that, and, like, obviously I didn't know that it's kind of more of, like, go with your own flow, and this is something that you want to do instead of, like, if you have to do it and you have to go to every single meeting and you have to, like, fully engage and stuff like that. It's like, I don't really know how to phrase it, but I guess that commitment piece was I was very unsure about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Rafi, do you have anything you might want to add?
Well, fix your posture, don't give me the pillow.
Lock in. Anyway, so, but they can't see him.
I don't know why he's not taking this seriously, but next question.
I'm taking it seriously, bro.
So, you all are AIA heads. And the question that I've been asking to all AIA heads that have been on my podcast is, what is something that you feel either goes unappreciated about AIA spaces or you wish that people considered in terms of respecting AIA spaces? You can be as honest as you want.
I mean, I can start, and I'm gonna be very straight up when I say this. I think AIA spaces are vital for DEI, or DIBSUSW has it, and I think that with that comes, and I'm pretty involved in other clubs outside of AIA spaces, but I think that AIA spaces, at least in my view, should always take precedent over other, like, interest clubs, for example, or AA spaces should take affinity and alliance groups should take precedent over interest clubs, just because of the fact that one, at least in my opinion, is substantially more vital for belonging, because it's a piece of an identity that people like can't really change, whereas the other one is like a little more shifting. And I think that that's not to say that one should be disenfranchised for the other. I just wish, at least in my opinion, and this is more speaking to the school itself, I just wish that schools of different institutions placed more emphasis on affinity, especially affinity and alliance groups, because of the fact that that feels like that is an aspect that a lot of schools will push. And I think it's especially important as we see the political climate today, where that's being constricted upon, where it's really, really, really important to have diversity of thought and diversity of opinion, and to do that, people need to feel like belonging in who they are.
100%.
So I think there really needs to be like a strong backbone that institutions, especially learning institutions, create for these affinity spaces.
Yeah. I think I would say, I guess, I think a lot of the learning and stuff, like at least for a particular identity, obviously happens in that space, but I think the appreciation for that learning, I guess, outside of this space is, I think, something that kind of, like gets overlooked. I think, especially too, like when it's like Black History Month, like I feel like people's minds, they're obviously expecting like a presentation from BSU or from some affiliated AIA space, and I feel like beyond that scope, I wish people were kind of more, I guess, in tune with it. You know what I mean? Like I wish people were kind of like, oh, like BSU, we can do a presentation in the fall or in the spring, not something that just lines up in February.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I wish that these AIA spaces like didn't really have to like follow this strict calendar, basically saying like, oh, like this is when you guys get to be appreciated, or this is when you guys can talk about something. You know what I mean? Like obviously, with the election, it was a good time to talk about politics and talk about where we fit as people of color in that. But like I guess like why don't we do that in like in the spring, or why don't we have a presentation about that in assembly during the winter? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I wish it was just more flexible, and I also wish people had a more open mind about that type of thing.
I've only ever had I've only had 2 duos on my podcast. And those duos have said very nice things about each other. So I'm going to challenge you all to be nice to each other now. If you could describe your co-head in one word, how would you describe them?
You have a word?
I think you should start.
I think I should start.
You can take a second.
Okay. One word?
Mm-hmm.
One word? Oh. I got my word. Should I say it?
Yeah. You don't have to explain if you don't want to.
Auspicious.
What?
Auspicious.
Wait, where's my cameraman?
Let me just,
Wait.
Let me just give you a little.
Come,
let me just give you a little background on that word. Basically, there was this.
Wait, say the word again.
Auspicious.
Auspicious, right here. Thank you.
It means that it has it's a beneficial prospect, so to speak.
What does that mean? I don't know what it means.
Did you just say that off the top of your head?
No, I was like a joke meaning of like I don't know he like we joke a lot of things, like he says a lot of big words for no reason. And
oh, so you thought you'd eat just now and use a big word?
Yeah, but like I promise you, like I think he told me the definition like weeks back, but I don't know what the fuck that means.
Is that a compliment in your eyes?
Yeah, auspicious is a compliment.
Okay.
Auspicious.
Why is he?
What's the definition? Let's get a definition.
It means it has the potential to be something good.
Potential, yeah.
Can you tell us what it means?
Yeah, it has the potential to be something good.
Nice.
That's what I want to describe. But I think
Very original.
I think with Rafi, it's it's a lot more than just this space. I think Rafi is in a lot of things that I do. He's in my my big friend group. He's also somebody that I've known for so long. Genuinely, I consider him like a brother. And I think whenever there's that potential to be good, I think he always strives to be great. And I think that's one quality that I always admire about Rafi. He goes above and beyond. He will do 100% of those slides. He always puts his ideas out there, and he's always he's himself. And I think like that's not backhanded at all, but that's just something that Rafi takes pride in. So whether it be from this beautiful brain or these big boy muscles, it's just like it's just something that happens with him, and I love him for it. Yeah.
I was was really sweet.
Yeah.
Which one
That was really sweet. That was good.
Well, thanks, for sure.
Go ahead, Rob.
I think well-rounded, and just like not in like this person's well-rounded and they just do this and that. That's sort of like the bare minimum and like everything. Like I think well-rounded genuinely isn't. I have never seen someone that is so well able to accommodate like the needs of everyone in his life. Just because of the fact that it's like whenever someone has like a request of you, like in some form, you're always able to meet that. Like I feel like if I were to think of people that let other people down, like you are the last person on that list. And I think that that's just something that I've not only seen like academically and like you as a co-head of BLAIM or even a member of BSU, but also something that like involvement with people outside of the space, like your interactions with your parents, for example, or your brother, where it's like I feel like even people that you don't necessarily have to give parts of yourself to, like you're always willing to put that best foot forward, and I think like that's one of the qualities that I think I couldn't ask for a better quality in somebody in leading a space with someone.
Aww, that was so good. Do you guys need a second? That made me emotional.
We're good, but thank you.
Please try something.
Bro, can you stop?
My fault, bro. I'm just appreciating his stature.
Anyway,
Is that a word? Stature.
2 more questions. What are your plans for BLAIM? I assume you all are leading again next year. What are your plans? What are your goals?
Plans, goals for the future, you know.
Just give me one. Give me one goal.
Just give you one goal for the future.
Potluck.
You know, potluck. I mean, that's like something we want to do this year.
True.
I think next year I'll blow my nose.
Did you just whip that out your pocket?
Yeah, I got a little stash. Don't worry about that. What's
I
it
don't
called?
think you should say that on camera for real.
Hey, I would say bigger and better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bigger and better.
Can't reveal too much.
Can't reveal too much.
Can't hurt it too much.
Is that? Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay. Now, this is a leadership podcast. Who is a leader that has impacted you in a large way and influenced you?
That's a big question.
Like anybody?
Yeah, here.
Okay.
Oh, it's just
Yeah, it's just,
So is that-
don't say Obama. Like, he not finna come on the podcast.
No, I know. I got more niche people than Obama, but they all dead. So.
Oh,
Okay. Who do you have so far?
who has been on the podcast?
Yeah, it was better than podcast.
Let me just give you a quick rundown. Callista, Fang Yuan, Cami Fatimata, Demir, Kaylee's episode comes out before yours. AJ just had their episode out, and then I have an episode coming out in a couple weeks.
Okay. You know,
You can say somebody that's already been on there. Like, if you want to say me, you can. No, not saying you have to.
I got my pick. You know, I think I got my pick. Say Leo, Cedar Leo.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Elaborate.
I will.
Oh.
If you're watching this, I love you, bro. But you know, me, I'm a massive sports fan. I love sports, and I also love playing sports. You know, I play sports all 3 seasons: soccer, basketball.
Didn't you call somebody off the bench at one of your Ultimate games?
I did what?
Nothing.
I called somebody off the bench.
Yeah, you were on the bench. And
Yeah, and then I proceeded to cook the rest of the game. You were there. You watched it. Don't deny that. Yeah, because without me,
No, that's true.
You gonna say that, and I'm gonna post it on YouTube?
what's up? I'm him. What's it called? But I think Leo, you know, especially being a freshman, and also obviously, you know, he's a fantastic soccer player, you know, always. But I also think his dedication is very admirable. I think in a lot of ways, like, you know, even just seeing him, like, you know, even on the off season, he was like kicking the ball like in the stairwell and stuff, like, you know, like he lives, breathes, dies soccer. And I think for that it was like I think for me especially, like in that whole time period I was in, I was like kind of unsure about how to like give my 100 to something, you know what I mean? Because like as Rafi said, that whole like well-rounded aspect, you know, like I feel like I juggle a lot of balls, but at the same time too, like I can juggle really well, but at the same time too, like I can't like, you know, like do something, you know, really, really well, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think with him, like, you know, he's very, you know, he's very dedicated to what he does, you know, and I think in a lot of things too, even just like by warm-ups, like I steal some of his warm-ups that he used to do, with us in soccer and stuff like that. And his leadership also on the soccer team was great. I think we would not have even made playoffs if it wasn't for him. So, yeah, I give my little props to Leo.
Oh, how cute.
I think I'm gonna have to say you, Dan.
Oh.
And
Don't
I think
make me
like
cry though. Don't make me cry.
I think I can't promise that, but I think like your leadership at Aisley was something that really made me realize that like you just are really, really, really committed to the leadership positions that you're in, and like just all parts of that. And it's like I feel like that's sort of what I sort of aspire to be in a lot of ways, because the fact that the dedication you have, and the fact that like I know full well that you're going through the entire college process and like leading multiple spaces at once, doing planning for something that's months down the line, hell, even doing that planning when you're literally overseas in France, like that's just really incredible to me. And I think that type of dedication, and especially the difficulty of that dedication coming from being a leader, and the fact that you understand you have to make accommodations sort of for everybody that's going to be in that space and consider all those extra factors, like I find that really, really admirable.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, thank you.
That.
Oh. Well, is there anything you want to plug? When does BLAIM meet?
I mean,
we meet in 2 weeks from Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah.
2 weeks from Thursday.
Anything exciting you want to plug?
Yeah, so I don't know if I can plug this because
Just stay tuned.
a little exclusive.
Ooh.
But for members of BLAIM or Circle of Sisters, not sure when this podcast will be out, but we will be having a potluck. I already talked to Cam about it. She's down. So we're going to be locked in on that.
I'm so excited.
Such a
Well, that's it. Do you all want to do like a dramatic exit like Jameer did or no?
dramatic. What do you mean dramatic?
Like you could just walk out. You could storm out.
Just walk out.
Yeah. Or you guys can like pose or whatever. I don't know.
Pause.
I think we should pose.
Pause. Like, what do you want to do?
You remember judges?
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, God. No. You really put me in a chokehold.
Well, while they're figuring that out,
Okay.
thank you so much for watching. Correction, episode 8 of We Are Leadership, and I hope that you all have an amazing time, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. And we're coming up to episode 10. Keep watching, and thank you so much, Rafi and Ryan, for being here. And this is a pure demonstration of their relationship. See you next time. Bye. Wow.
I want nachos.